Now Arjun has heard Lord's advice time and time again, repeatedly. Lord has said who our real enemies are, whom Arjun has to fight. They are not the actual persons as such, but the attitudes, the nature, the evil propensities, these are our enemies. Arjun is hearing them. Now he is confused. He thought that he had to fight Duryodhana as a person. Now Lord is leading him into lust and greed, and then he has been telling him that are lying within you. So he is confused in a manner, and so he is asking a beautiful question. So let's see what he is saying. Slok 36, he says, अथ केन प्रयुक्तयं पापं चरति पुरुषः अनिच्छनपि वार्ष्णेय बलातीव नियोजिता. He says, Lord, what causes a person, what induces a person, what incites a person to do evil? What is it in him that causes him to do evil or tend towards evil even though he doesn't wish to? Hey Varshnaya, Balativa Niyojita, that enemy or whatever that is inside us carries against our wish, just like we carry away a dog against this wish. Similarly, who is there within us that carries us towards doing evil things very powerfully before we even realize we are already into it? We don't really desire to be unhappy, or nobody wants to do evil. Why are we headed towards that? What causes that? So I think that is a very good question. We want to find out. We don't desire evil. We don't want to suffer, and yet we are carried away very powerfully before even we know we are in it. He wants to know what is the cause. The Lord replies him, Kama esha, Krodha esha, Rajoguna samudbhavaha, Maha ashana ma papma vidyena me vairinam. He says, Lord says, it is the desire, it is the lust, it is the greed. Greed for lust and lust for greed. And it is endless. We have a lust for money, that is greed. And we have greed for lust that never ends. So Lord says, that is that kamna, and that since it is never satisfied, it results in anger. And anger is one of our largest concern. In my experience of more than 30 years, if there was a singular question that most people ask is, how do we overcome our anger? At least that means they have recognized that anger is their biggest question, biggest concern, and that it is difficult. Obviously, they have found it difficult, yet that is the one that is harassing us. So even an ordinary person has the question, how do I overcome my anger? Anger has many forms, but we know that we all are going through that. The Lord says that the cause of anger is that we wanted something according to our desire and we did not get it. Well, in Prakriti, as we have often said, that we will never be satisfied because we are infinite by nature and we cannot be satisfied by finite. That is as simple as that. And so, all the toys, the child will never be satisfied or happy until the child goes to the mother when he is hungry. So, we know our experience tells us that we are always angry or upset or unhappy because we ran after something, even a new car, and after 9 days we find that, well, we got into it, into all the payments, and what real pleasure did we get? So, these momentary pleasures, that attractions that we have, the causes us the slavery, and that again nobody likes slavery, so we get angry with ourselves and we then complain, we gripe, we drag our feet. All these are different forms of anger, and so the question is very legitimate that what is the cause of anger and how to get rid of it. Well, That is what we will be learning. That is what Gita is helping. If you have a single most important question, anger and how to overcome, then here we will have the advice. Uh, Even psychiatrists who have problems of anger themselves, they try to help other people who have anger. It doesn't work. One sick man cannot help another. You have to go to Gita or saint who has overcome the anger. There is nobody in the world who has overcome the anger, and yet we go to find a doctor who will help us while he is sick and we are also sick. So I think that the best advice and help we can get is from God directly or from saints. Lord says that this enemy within us is the one that induces us to do sin. Since he asks papam charati purusha, why a man commits sin? Then Lord says that is because of the lust and greed within. Then again it turns out into anger, and in anger we may do anything. We have seen how people in anger do things that we cannot imagine. Sometimes even murder, rapes, killing, and robbing. People act as animals sometimes, and that is all due to this kamna. So Lord says this is born out of Rajas Gun. Rajas Gun is again the same as lust and greed. And he says, Mahashano Mahabhapma, that enemy is so big that he is never satisfied. Lust and greed is never satisfied, no matter how much we have. He has such a big stomach that no matter how much we get, we will always want more. We know millionaires want to be billionaire wants to be 100 billion. There is no end in the world. People say that, well, I'll be satisfied if I have $100,000. I have heard people who came from India saying that, well, if I have this much money, I will be satisfied and go home and relax and retire. Nobody has gone that way because our greed, our desire, our wants, our expectations have always grown, and we have always remained slave. Actually, today we are greater slave than we were on the first day when we came here, because we have more things we have bought, more desires we have nurtured. So, in reality, we are becoming greater and greater slave because these desires never satisfied. Our desires cannot be satisfied, Lord says. That alone is your enemy. With the enemy varinam. Know that that is your enemy. That is the fellow within you that is inducing you to do sin. He is the great papi, means sinful enemy, Ravan or Duryodhan, who is nothing but an unlimited desire for pleasures. Beyond our needs, we of course have needs, and Lord says we have no problem. We should all work for our needs. Anything over the need is a curse, because when we have more, we eat more, and we feel sick. I always notice rich people and their women are always more sick than those who are middle class, who are working hard, have less problem. Of course, this doesn't mean that those who are poor and don't have even food to eat, that is again another curse that also needs to be taken care of or removed. But here again we say that whatever our basic needs to be healthy so that we can perform our duties for which we have come here. In the car, if we give more gas or less gas, you will find out what the engine will do. It will either rattle in either case and will not perform properly. Similarly, if we have more money, we are going to rattle. We will have more pride, more ego, and more suffering. And if it is less, then we are starved. So, if we can somehow, as Lord says, balance our life, and whatever we need to be healthy, yes, to be happy physically, there is no problem. Lord said, I have made enough for everybody. The world I have made is so well planned, He is infinite. He can give us love infinite to each one of us. It is a strange mathematics that each one of us can have infinite love from God, and still He has infinite love left. Infinite love minus infinite love remains infinite love. Now go and ask your Einstein, your mathematician, and figure out that equation, that infinite love minus infinite love is equal to infinite love. So you are not going to be able to figure out this thing. So this is the thing. All of us have an access to infinite, because in us we want infinite. God said, I have infinite. That is by very nature is the definition of infinite, that it cannot become finite. No matter how much you take out of it, it remains infinity. So, therefore, we should never feel that we will be starving. God has plenty made, but we should not misuse it. God does not like misusing. It is love and joy that is infinite, not the dollars and not food and not environment. That is not infinite. God has planned so that it will be properly, if distributed, everybody will have enough beautiful life, healthy life, and everybody will be happy. No more, no less. We see the animals in the jungles, how they are happy. There is always they find food. Unless we go and ruin them by feeding nonsense, they are always happy. Lord has made food for them and they are very healthy. If you see the deer, if they overeat, they cannot run fast and they might be easily the victim of the other animals. If they eat less, they will be weak and they will be again the victim very easily. But if they are properly nourished, then they will be able to run and able to sustain themselves or survive. So, same is the case with human being. If we overeat or undereat, we will be the victim of this maya, that ignorance we are talking, and will suffer. So either way, it is not desirable. We should try to therefore see that what Lord has made, which is physical, is not unlimited. But love, peace, and joy, that is unlimited. That is also given to everybody. We cannot make everybody millionaire. We cannot have palace for everyone. We don't even need that. But we all can have infinite love, infinite peace, infinite joy, and yet it still remains infinite. This is the thing that we want to meditate upon. This is what Gita is teaching. Now, talking about anger, I would also like to think about what Lord has advised us, Lord Buddha. He says, let go of your anger, let go of your pride, for pride nurtures anger. When you are bound by nothing, you go beyond sorrow. Anger is like a chariot careering wildly without a captain. He who curbs his anger is the true charioteer, like Sri Krishna. Others merely hold the reins. With gentleness, overcome anger. With generosity, overcome meanness. With truth, overcome deceit. Speak the truth. Speak of love. Give whatever you can. Never be angry. Under no condition you should justify your anger. These three steps will lead you into the presence of the divinity. The wise harms no one. They are masters of their bodies, the flesh, the lust, and they go to the boundless country, infinite in nature. They go beyond sorrow and depression, frustration and fear, anger, jealousy and hatred, vanity and egoism that causes sorrow. They go beyond that. Those who seek perfection, want to realize God, keep watch by day and night till all desires vanish, the enemy is vanquished, and now he can sleep with peace. Listen, Atula, this is not new. It is an old saying. They blame you for being silent. They blame you when you talk too much and when you talk too little. Whatever you do, they blame you. The world always finds a way to praise and a way to blame. It always has and it always will. But who dares blame the man whom the wise continually praises, whose life is virtuous and wise, who shines like a coin of pure gold, like Mira? Even the gods praise her, even Brahma praises her. Beware of the anger of the body and the lust. Master the body, let it serve the truth. Let it be your horse you ride on. Beware of the anger of the mouth, the speech. Master your words, let them serve truth. Beware of the anger of the mind. Master your thoughts, let them serve truth. The wise have mastered the body, the word, and the mind. They are the true masters, true saints, true lovers of God, who have controlled their body, their words, and their mind. This blessing of the Lord, if we meditate on quietly and calmly, you would not need to learn and read tons of books. You will not have to run around after the gurus and the seminars on meditation and yoga, for all the peace lies in this wisdom of saints like Buddha and Mira. And that is what Lord is says, that this is the anger, this is the enemy within you that you have to fight. Now, there are so much covering that we want to, this enemy is covered within us like onions have several covers and covering its seed. Similarly, here there are three kinds of covering that we have to be aware of. And he says, Dhumena avriyate vanni yatha adarsha malena cha yatha ulbena avruta garbha tatha tena idam avrutam. Lord says that this enemy of ours is covered, is just like the fire is covered with smoke. We have this knowledge which is fire. Atman is fire. Fire is always considered as knowledge. Where there is light, there is something we can see and don't stumble. If there is darkness, then we stumble, which is ignorance. So, our knowledge is covered by the smoke, and that smoke, of course, we talked about, that kamna. Yatha yadarsha malena cha, just like a mirror is covered with dust, and and just like an embryo by the secundin, so it is covered by that. Just like the embryo is covered in mother's womb, just like the smoke covers the fire, and just like the dust, particularly sometimes the muddy dust covers the mirror, these enemies, these are the three types of enemies. The strength of these enemies, these are three different varieties or strength. One is very difficult to get rid of, and one is easier. Just like fire covered with smoke, if we just blow a little bit, the smoke will go away. It is very lightly. These are the people who have been struggling along the path. They are sattvic, what we call. They are trying to do their best to struggle against this enemy. We call them sattvic people. But there are others who are rajasic. They are like that mirror covered with dust. It takes little bit of rubbing, little bit of more effort, not just blowing, but rubbing. So worldly people needs again and again rubbing, repetition, as we see here in our message, because our minds are split, we are not listening. Arjun is not listening, and I don't know whether we are any smarter or more intelligent than him. So we do need again and again, because the dirt on our purity or the kamna or the lust on us is so much deeper that we need to work again and again, just like spots on the clothes. If the spots are deeper, we'll have to rub the soap until the spots are gone. And the worst, like animal thing, those people who, again, we have said that the embryo is covered, and that is even more difficult to clean. So this is how Lord said there are three kinds of human beings, and therefore they need three kinds of efforts. The sattvic people are almost close to God. They need little bit of help. The worldly needs more, and those who live like animals, they need even more help to purify, just like the garb in the woman's uh, womb. Now, आवृतं ज्ञानम एतेन ज्ञानिनः नित्यवैरिणा कामरूपेण कौन्तेय दुष्पुरेण अनलेन च. Now Lord is telling that this enemy, don't take it lightly, don't underestimate this fellow. Ravan was no small task for Ram to kill. This devil in us that is bothering us is not a small enemy to overcome. We cannot take it lightly. So Lord says, Avrutam jnanam etena jnaninaha nityavairina. The wise people or even ordinary people's knowledge is covered by this constant enemy. Now this enemy never sleeps. The desire for lust never sleeps. Even if we are sleeping, that desire is still inside us, and as soon as we are awake, we still have the same desire. Nitya Vairina, a constant enemy. In other words, we need constant effort. There is no time we can be not vigilant. If we are slightly careless, just like driving a car, it takes split second. If you are negligent, in order to die or go into the ditch or kill somebody else, it is even more dangerous than that. So Lord says this fellow is just, there is no place where he is not there, as we have said, and there is no time when he is not attacking us, or he is in every condition, he is always in front of us or within us. And he covers our knowledge, he covers our love and our joy, and creates pain. And his name is Kama Rupena, his form is lust. And he Dushpurena Anenlena Cha, he is like a fire, and he is like a terrible enemy that can never be satisfied. Dushpurena. No matter how much you uh, try to eat or feed yourself, no matter how much you do, you are never going to be satisfied. It is like fire that burns the house. The fire is never satisfied unless the house is burned to ashes. When there is no further fuel, then fire will quiet down. Similarly, our lust, our fire never will be calm until we stop putting fuel in it, until we stop desires, until we start looking around all the time and wanting something. That means we are throwing this woods in the fire, and the fire will increase. So what we are saying here is that this enemy will not keep quiet until the whole body, until we die. Birth after birth, but the enemy does not die. As we have said, enemy is desires, and when desires are gone, that is the moment when we realize God. Or in order to realize God, it's not the death of the body, but the death of this lust or desires is what we are being told here, and that is no small task. That is why we say that there are 84 lakhs of births. We go into cycle day after day, birth after birth, because that tells us that enemy is more powerful than we think, and certainly we will need God's help. One thing we realize that no matter how great the enemy is, we still have help. No matter how deep rooted our passions and our sinful nature might be, there is always a help available to us, like Pingla. If we turn to God, if we beg to Lord that I'm sorry, I did not know, I was ignorant, and I did everything out of ignorance, that is good enough for Lord. He will come and save us from this enemy. But then we must humble ourselves. Sometimes we must recognize that we are not as wise as we think. Sometimes we must humble and control our ego. We must admit that I did out of ego, out of my pride and vanity. I am sorry, Lord. Now give me the wisdom Give me the company of saints, give me the company of holy books, holy people, so that I will be heading towards self realization or towards you, because that is what alone can give me happiness. So, here then in slok number 39, Lord has said that that enemy is calm, is the lust, he is very powerful, he can never be satisfied, he is like fire that consumes the house, and at the end only it will keep quiet. It is constantly Nitya Vairina, he is a constant enemy, and he covers our joy, he covers our peace. In other words, he doesn't allow to be happy. Pandavas cannot be happy right now because Duryodhan has covered them and there is an anxiety. Nobody is happy, neither the Pandavas nor the Kauravas, because their knowledge is covered. Fortunately, Pandavas are with God, they are searching and asking for help. That is what we just said, that if we seek help from God, there is always a help available at any time, under any condition. We have said again, God is always willing to forgive us. He does not examine our past. He knows our weakness, like mother knows the weakness of the child. Child again and again spoils his clothes or does things and gets hurt, but mother continues to love and help the child, cleanse the child again, and um, puts him into back into his health. Similarly, our mother, the God infinite, is never going to get tired with our mischief or our stupidity. He has lot of patience, lot of time, being beyond time and patience. It is we who are suffering. So it is not that we are worried about God, we should be worried about us, that we will be getting tired, and sooner we come out of this illusion, sooner we come out of this suffering and pain, it will be good for us. So we are turning to God, not that we are obliging God. Child is not obliging mother when the child goes to the mother. It is in our interest we are doing. So never again we should think that whatever we may be doing, we have never done it for somebody else. Whoever he may be, whatever he has done, he is doing it for himself. If he is doing harm, he is doing harm to himself. He is doing good, he is doing good to himself. Others are merely mirrors or opportunity for him to realize where he stands and what he has to do. So we should stop blaming others, and we should look into ourselves, that we do good to ourselves or we do harm to ourselves. If we stop doing harm to ourselves, then we will be not harming others necessarily, and therefore we, all of us will be happy if we just mind our own business. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat.